Welcome back, everybody, to an episode that I don't really want to do. Now, today we're going to be jumping into a prison where I'd say about 90% of the inmates have bad paperwork. In most prisons, inmates are trying to find these type of individuals so that they can remove them from the block because they don't want to be living with people with these kind of crimes. But this prison is built pretty much specifically for them. But let's jump right into it. If you enjoy, hit that like, subscribe, notification bell before you leave. And check out my playlist with over 1,400 videos for you to start watching today. Welcome to Colorado's Freemont State Prison. For many sex offenders, they call this place motherland. Over 1,400 of them. So you gotta figure 90% of the people coming off this bus, chances are, is sex offenders. Now, believe it or not, 20% of the offenders in Colorado are sex offenders. They got programs that kind of teach these individuals, or try to teach them, not to commit these heinous crimes anymore. Nowadays, these guys, they are not getting thrown into regular blocks, man. They're really catered to. It's because they've been getting killed for the last few decades and their families are suing. A lot of times people feel as though the government or something is getting soft and they're siding with these people that don't need to be sided with. But in all actuality, they're probably just tired of kicking out money and dealing with paperwork. They'd rather just soothe everybody's needs and try to check all their ends. Now, believe it or not, there's guys in this prison that don't want to be here. They get sick and tired of waking up around these type of individuals. They don't feel as though they're in the same bracket. And this is a perfect example on why some states, especially like California or the federal prison system, the inmates will come up asking for your paperwork first thing smoking. And I've heard stories of people not having their paperwork. Depending on the group of people you're dealing with, they might give you like 48 hours, maybe a week to come up with it. But if you don't, they're definitely going to be getting you out that block. Chances are by force. They don't play with that paperwork in some states. But the flip side of this is, if you do produce the paperwork and it checks out, man, they're going to open up their arms, even bring you a little care package maybe. Honey bun, couple soups, a little bit of hygiene, something to get your ride started off right. Now, the prisons I've seen, we didn't check paperwork like that. People just hop on their contraband cell phone and look it up for themselves. Or we just ask the CO about someone we were suspicious about, if they haven't already came in and informed certain inmates already on who's coming in. Trust me, COs like to put these guys in hot water situations just like any other inmate would. Now look, of course all COs ain't like that, but for example, I've had people come onto the channel said they're in a special housing unit, segregation, but you know, if the prison ain't designed for these type of individuals with these crimes, then they'll put them in a little side pocket area in a regular prison. A lot of places don't have specific buildings for protective custody, segregation, troublemakers, whatever. They usually put them all into one building. And like I was saying, guards will go up to the regular inmates that are just in there probably for too many tattoo charges or too many fighting charges. And they'll shoot them a couple extra trays, say, hey, bro, you need to go handle business with this cat. Open up both cell doors and let them go in there and punish them. I've had at least 3 people come on the channel saying the COs came to them with those bribes. You know, and they had to handle business because if they didn't, then they were going to get something coming their way possibly from the COs. You know, sometimes some places the COs can be worse than the inmates. Another story is there was a CO working with the trustees and he knew damn well that these trustees were pumping broken glass in those trays. He ain't care, man. So there's all kinds of ways that people get at these individuals with bad crimes. No matter what prison they're in, even if it's designed for them, yeah, it might be a little more comfortable, but there's still going to be something coming their way. So yeah, it could be brutal for these individuals depending on the states that they're in. Obviously, this prison in Colorado, they seem to be flourishing. Now we're going into Cell House 1, and this individual's name is Mimo. Just like the past documentaries I've done, I allowed the inmates to speak and tell their story a bit, but not with this one. I could care less what they have to say, so I'm going to break it down how I see fit. This type of individual right here, Mr. Mimo, is the kind of guy that might just slide through the cracks in a regular prison that ain't checking paperwork. Why? Because he blends into the prison tutorial. White skin head covered in Celtic tattoos. There's no way homeboy got no diddling paperwork, man. Let's let him ride with the clique. That's how a lot of guys think in prison. If you don't fit the physical characteristics, because believe it or not, as soon as you walk through, inmates are judging. You already know that. your appearance, size, everything. And in prison, I'm not going to break down exactly what the look is, but there's certain looks that inmates have that will immediately give these inmates red flags, and they'll go out trying to figure out what the hell he's in there for. But Memo's only 26 years old, and he already has bad paperwork in a prison that people probably know for a fact. If you've been to it, then you're all bad. And that brings me to another topic. A lot of people that's done time in prisons like this, let's say they were to go into a cell block and they say, hey man, where have you done time at? I can guarantee they're going to leave this prison out the equation, because a prison that's filled with these type of inmates gets stamped. It gets labeled. The whole facility's no good. Even if for some reason you slip through the cracks, you ain't got no bad paperwork but landed in this prison, guaranteed you're going to have to fight for your life to try to prove you ain't got nothing bad going on. I've seen interviews on YouTube where people are getting mad at other inmates saying, man, that guy's telling you straight lies, man. You know, he was in this prison right here. That prison's built for nothing but no good people. Ain't no way he was in there unless he was trying to get some protection. So, with this guy being 26 years old, covered in what looks to be some prison tattoos, tells me that he might have slid through the cracks a little bit in the beginning. Was getting into the mix. People were opening up their arms to him, doing tats, maybe trying to lead him into an organization. And then, boom, paperwork flooded in. Fremont prison, here I come. And that's the story of finding Memo. Now this lady's breaking down how even though this is a facility designed for these certain type of individuals and their crimes, there's still a hierarchy. There's still a top of the list and the bottom of the barrel. And the ones at the bottom of the barrel, just like any other prison, are getting taken advantage of, extorted, forced to sleep in their bunk and never come out the cell. That's what she said, and I've told you stories about individuals I've seen personally have to live through a life like that. Literally going to the bathroom on themselves because they're scared to use the toilet, or to become super filthy so that the guy doesn't want to touch them. This hierarchy in this prison is pretty insane. The ones at the top of the list are the ones that don't have charges against children, even though their crimes are pretty much within the same bracket. They'd get the same kind of punishment if they were in a different prison. Now, some of y'all might not think like this, but I do. The majority of these inmates probably in here for taking something from a female, but the whole staff for the most part is female. I wonder why they do it like that. You know, you'd think those girls going into these tiers would be a little worried knowing that them guys take cheeks, right? But if they were to have nothing but men, you know, it might be trouble for them. Because trust me, don't nobody respect a child molester in prison. Not staff, not nobody. So there always gonna be someone probably trying to get back at some of these individuals, especially the ones with bad paperwork. You know, the COs can see their whole back sheet, why they're in there, exactly what they did. Now women that might be jumping into the CO game, listen up. If you happen to give these inmates a little bit more kick it than the regular hi, how are you, what are you doing, what do you need, you start laughing, giggling, and opening up just a little bit, certain inmates are going to take that and run with it. So they're going to keep on coming at you with those sweet nothings every day until finally you break and you bring in that pack. But it all started because you didn't keep the conversation basic. Not to mention, they might just skip the whole manipulation part and shoot their shot. I told a story in the past about an inmate that would talk to the nurse on a regular basis. He thought he was in there like swimwear. So one day he went up behind her and popped her on the cheeks. She turned around, looked at him like, what the hell are you doing? And a couple minutes later, he's in the side pocket, probably with a fresh assault charge or some kind of, bad paperwork stuff coming his way. But that's because he took something from that nurse and ran with it, thinking he had a shot. But really, she was just being friendly. Maybe, like I said, a little too friendly. But the truth here is, a lot of these female COs, they're willingly doing this stuff. Chances are they might be falling in love with these inmates. Now that's just about everything that I can break down when it comes to these special prisons. But here's the truth, alright? A lot of people out in the streets that never been to prison think that individuals with these crimes, as soon as they get exposed by the other inmates, they think that they're just gonna kill them on sight. But that's not how it goes, man. The majority of people, they ain't trying to get a fresh body. They ain't trying to go to seg unit for the next 20 years. A lot of people got release dates, and even the ones that don't enjoy using the phone, buying canteen, and smoking a little bit of bud. It's hard to do that when you're in the side pocket. So they'll opt out of killing the individual and just extort him. Get as much money as they possibly can out of him, or do to him what he did to those individuals. Chances are it won't be just one either, it'll be a few guys. And then they'll extort you and keep you in the block forever, tormenting you until you check out. And then once you check out and go to the other block, they'll hop on the cell phone, give them a little ring, and D-block. Hey, D-block, how are you doing? A little Christmas gift is coming y'all's way. I enjoyed him for quite a while. So make sure you take good care of him and make him feel at home. He does love the Vaseline in between his pinky toes. Don't forget now. It makes him wiggle. But like I said early on in the video, I try to show every avenue of prison life. Because a lot of people think the stuff that other people talk about is not real, it's a myth. But just because it doesn't happen in your state doesn't mean it ain't happening in another one. Always remember that. And that's why I started doing interviews with people from other states so people could get a little grasp of what they might be walking into. You know, when I first started doing this prison channel, I thought the whole California politics separation and stuff like that was only in the movies. But boy, once I started rolling with those interviews, I learned a lot. A huge crash course. And ever since then, I was like, man, I gotta see how all these other states function. I gotta figure out which states I'm not gonna be traveling to. I'm just playing. I am not gonna be committing no crimes in those states, that's for sure. But stay tuned, I got plenty more of these prison docus coming your way. Like I said in the beginning, if you enjoyed, hit that like, subscribe, notification bell before you leave. And as always, I salute every last one who's been supporting me since the beginning, and everybody who's just now joining the lockdown compound. Y'all be safe and stay free.